He was Harlem's symbol of power, until his own brother turned him in. Now, Jim Jones is behind bars, Chrissy is facing federal charges, and Camron? He's the one who lit the match that burned it all down. Betrayal, secrets, and criminal empires. This isn't just hip-hop drama, this is a real-life empire collapsing in plain sight. What if I told you Chrissy's loyalty was the biggest lie of them all, after Jim Jones was recently sentenced to prison? Harlem is reeling from betrayal, heartache, and anger. What do you do when the person you trusted with your life ends up ruining everything? Camron's brother delivered the final blow on his day, but that wasn't even the worst part. In a cruel turn of events that no one saw coming, Camron's own family recently revealed devastatingly shocking details about Chrissy. As the cameras rolled and the streets bustled with conversation, Chrissy was seen crying as her entire world collapsed before her, leaving everything standing and caught between treachery and shame. Whether it's justice or simple retaliation, tonight we uncover the reality they tried to hide, exposing intense rivalries, covert betrayals, and there have been occasions throughout history when events have taken an unexpected turn and nothing is ever the same again. Jim Jones, the once untouchable, yes, you read correctly, a famous Dipset rapper, is still alive and well. Stay tuned because after you hear what happened, you won't want to leave. You will never view loyalty the same way inside those closed doors again. Who we all think is above the law was found guilty and sentenced to prison. The news was shocking, and just when the story wasn't finished, Camron, yes, the same Camron who is known for her actions, dropped a bombshell that none of us anticipated. He has already been attacked for his harsh comments and quick wit. You can already feel the tension in the air, don't you? Jim Jones is in prison, his empire is in ruins, and Camron is now caught in a tornado of chaos. The worst part is that it's all because he revealed Chrissy's darkest secrets, secrets so shocking that even the most resilient of us had to pause and think about them. Let's examine it. You are aware of Jim Jones's reputation in hip-hop for his leadership in diplomacy and his street power, but you were not aware that his death was years in the making, a slow fire that no one could put out. What if I told you that the drama is much deeper, darker, and more twisted than just a few secrets being revealed? Speaking of connections, let's talk about Camron. When he dropped the bomb, we thought that everyone's game was over, Chrissy, but what really happened? Who was in control of the situation? What did Chrissy have to do? His questionable activities, connections, and dubious people he has been hanging out with have become more and more public. Clues that would make her react the way she did, and whether this whole situation could have been avoided or was it bound to blow up in their faces. Let's start with Jim Jones, who was always more than just a rapper, he was a brand and a symbol. However, it's easy to forget that these public figures usually have more going on than we do. Acknowledge that allegations of corruption, questionable relationships, and betrayal are now facts rather than rumors, and that these facts are the primary cause of Jim Jones' incarceration. Sources familiar with the case have made public incriminating information that links Jim to criminal activity that exceeds the scope of any rap career. We're talking about the kind of information that has the potential to topple entire empires, money laundering, dishonest business practices, and worse. No, this isn't some wild conspiracy theory. We have testimony from witnesses and unquestionable evidence linking Jim to unlawful activity that went unpunished for too long. But here's where it gets interesting. Chrissy Lampin is what happens when someone's secrets are exposed is the real story of Chrissy's involvement. Her connection to the criminal underworld, and the lengths she would go to in order to keep the secrets she has been keeping for years. If you thought this was just about Jim, you're wrong. Camron did just that. The entire sequence is a complex and questionable display of power struggles, and Jim's demise was not just his own, it was a reflection of those around him who made it possible for him to succeed. He bravely faced the flames to expose Chrissy's true nature, but was it worth it because of his friendship and the truth? He deserves the criticism because once you pull back the curtain, there's no turning back. And are currently seeing his downfall in real time, but Chrissy is at the center of it all, controlling the plot as it unfolds. Skeletons in her closet could more than Jim, so where does this leave Camron, stuck in the middle, trying to deal with his own problems while Navigating a world of secrets and treachery? Vapor, take a look at what went wrong. Players became involved, which is why things are going to get much messier, but before we do that, let's take a moment to realize how serious this situation is. This isn't just a game of survival, betrayal, and power, and all of these players will suffer the consequences. So, how did Jim Jones's situation go wrong, and what sinister secrets is Chrissy hiding? Jim, as the fallout from Camron's shocking revelations continues to surface, Jones is in jail on charges that could define the rest of his life. Why did Camron sacrifice everything to expose the truth? As we continue to peel back the layers of this horrible story, we delve deeper into the web of lies, betrayals, and secrets that have been painstakingly kept hidden from the public eye. Camron's revelations about his life aren't just drama, though. They're the kind of story we all know about Chrissy Lumpin, who has always been Jim's rock of loyalty and strength. But what if I told you that loyalty is really just a well-made mask that hides a woman who has been playing a much more ambitious game than anyone could have ever dreamed? That Chrissy has been hiding some sinister secrets that, if made public, could fundamentally change how we perceive her relationship with Jim Jones. As you can see, Chrissy's efforts to protect Jim's arrest involved more than just him. For years, she has been the gatekeeper, strictly regulating the empire Jim built to protect their brand and image. But imagine what would happen if that Chrissy was Jim's loyal partner and supportive fiancé who was always there for him, but in private. She was someone else entirely, willing to stop at nothing. The information about Chrissy's involvement in these nefarious activities has been slowly making its way out, and what we've found is nothing less than a summary for the general public. In order to protect the wealth and power they had accumulated. Let's examine it. One of the most important discoveries from Camron's exposé was Chrissy's alleged involvement in several years' worth of illegal financial transactions. Camron, in his usual direct style, didn't just mention these schemes, he disclosed everything. There were offshore accounts. This is where things get even more complicated, though, as several unnamed sources claimed that Chrissy wasn't just a spectator. While Jim may have been the public face of his criminal business, some insiders assert that Chrissy was involved in transactions with underworld characters and suspicious individuals moving money in and out of the country. Imagine Chrissy, the woman we've all seen on reality TV with the dangerous secret she keeps. Oh no. It goes deeper than that. In the background, Chrissy was manipulating events to protect their resources and strengthen their control over the game. Her boyfriend was a co-conspirator in several of these illegal dealings. The more we look into it, the more we realize that Chrissy had her hands in some pretty shady places with dangerous people and criminal activity that could ruin not only Jim's career but also hers. Actions and dangers that could endanger not only her life but also her future. I understand what you're thinking. How did Chrissy change from the person we all think is devoted? The more we learn about Chrissy's involvement, the more credible reports we find that she may have been connected to organized crime. Insiders claim that Chrissy was not only ignorant of Jim's activities but also eagerly participated in money laundering schemes that facilitated the transfer of millions of dollars through shady charities and legitimate businesses. This is a prime example of the kind of let's not forget Camron, the one thing that really put the whole thing in jeopardy when he revealed Chrissy's involvement. This is the double life that many people in the entertainment industry lead, where public celebrities present the perfect image while also playing the understanding fiancé in front of the cameras. But why did Camron risk everything to expose Chrissy, whom he had previously regarded as a friend and close confidant? According to those close to Camron, he wasn't acting maliciously. The gloves came off when he said something that went beyond simply criticizing Chrissy and challenged the foundation of the empire that Jim and Christy had built. In the end, it wasn't just about getting even, it was about exposing the darker side of a world that's usually kept out of the public eye. You might be wondering what the impact will be. He felt that the public deserved to know the truth. He wasn't ready to let celebrities like Jim and Chrissy get away with their glamorous lives, and he deserved to know the truth about them. It's one thing to divulge a secret, but it's quite another to live with the fallout. Camron's revelations have affected the entertainment industry, with some fans standing by Jim and Chrissy and others calling for justice. Nevertheless, there's no doubting that the once unbreakable marriage's reputation as Chrissy's world is collapsing around her, and every new revelation weakens her grip on her empire. However, the real question remains whether she can survive this storm or if this is the beginning of the end for her. What about Jim? Can he manage the fallout from these exposes given his mounting legal troubles, or is he really as Agent Jim Jones was once a well-known figure in Harlem and beyond? As the dust settles after Camron's devastating expose, the true consequences are beginning to surface, and they are more disgusting than anyone could have imagined. Now that federal prosecutors have Camron's shocking accusations and the support of anonymous sources, he is not only battling legal issues, but the legal situation surrounding Jim is quickly getting more complicated due to the complete collapse of everything he built and whistleblowers. Insiders claim that prosecutors have already started a thorough investigation into Jim's financial activities using Camron's leaks as a guide. Former co-workers are being called as jurors and in courtrooms full of reporters. In an unfortunate turn of events, Chrissy's efforts to protect Jim over the years may have ultimately sealed their fates. According to sources close to the case, Jim is being targeted along with everyone else who had any contact with the empire that Chrissy's federal agents once discussed behind closed doors. While fans were arguing that Camron was being petty, breaking news notifications began to appear on all platforms, confirming that a full-scale investigation was underway. Her name appears on several significant financial documents that are currently being reviewed by the federal government and could link her to conspiracy money laundering and obstruction of justice charges. Chrissy was more than just a ride-or-die fiancé, she may have been a co-defendant. A federal investigation was underway, and TikTok theorists started sharing detailed analyses of the timelines, connections, and missing money on Twitter and Instagram. It was the biggest scandal of the year, and Jim Jones is deteriorating as a result of the strain. According to confidential sources, he has been desperately trying to strike a deal that would shorten his jail sentence, but there's a catch. In order to save himself, he might have to turn on Chrissy. Court sketches show him to be broken and hollowed out, not at all like the rebellious rapper who once ruled stages and music charts. It's the kind of terrible irony that even Hollywood couldn't have planned better. Jim is being offered a drastically reduced sentence by federal prosecutors in exchange for testifying against his longtime girlfriend, and the FBI is very interested in Chrissy. It was alleged that Jim, the man Chrissy fought for all these years, may have betrayed her in order to save his own skin. The entire story, every real estate property is being inspected, audited, and in some cases repossessed by the IRS and Department of Justice, who are now encroaching to seize the expensive trips, expensive clothing, exotic cars, and opulent homes that Jim and Chrissy have been flaunting on social media for years. Other celebrities are beginning to distance themselves from Jim and Chrissy, which has fueled an already raging fire. Longtime industry acquaintances have suddenly stopped communicating with each other, endorsement deals have been cancelled, and reality TV producers are reportedly looking through old footage of whether he likes him or not. Camron is unfazed and standing firm. Camron is gaining thousands of followers as Jim and Chrissy's every Instagram live, and Love and Chewy Hip Hop is desperately trying to find ways to lessen the association. It's as if Chrissy Lampin were being erased in real time, and she's considering rediting previous reunion shows to completely minimize her presence. Appears to be a victory lap in the eyes of the public, but there is a deeper sadness to it all. His message sends followers into yet another frenzy. Jim Jones and Camron were more than just rivals, they were family, friends, and brothers in arms. What we're witnessing isn't just the end of a career, it's the end of a Harlem is in mourning for Jim, who was a symbol of perseverance and achievement. Despite his flaws, against all odds, that symbol has now been broken, leaving a deep, terrible wound that might never heal. The Dipset heritage, once believed to be unbreakable, is now in ruins, brought down by arrogance, treachery, and greed. Fully recover, but Chrissy's future remains uncertain because Jim might turn against her. Her glamorous life could soon be confined to a cold, hard prison cell. Rumor has it that Chrissy has already hired one of the best criminal defense teams in New York, but even the best lawyers can't erase evidence or undo years of questionable behavior. The public is watching everything, including the transactions. The same people who used to cheer Chrissy's romantic proposals on national television are now closely examining every document interview. The final nail in the coffin is the bizarre money trail, which is being examined with ruthless precision. Anonymous leaks suggest that other associates of Jim and Chrissy may be subject to new prosecutions. This is not just a story about two people losing favor, it's about business partners, old friends, and even other names that haven't been revealed yet but are allegedly involved in the same corruption scandal. Imagine a house of cards collapsing and displacing everyone involved. The main question remains whether Jim and Christy will accept the together or apart. They turned on each other as the final court dates approached. Loyalty is just another word for collateral damage in this game, so they turned on each other in a last-ditch attempt to survive. Then the empire collapsed, leaving Camron staring from the front row with the smear of a man who knew this day. And Jim Jones facing the prison walls would come to betray the man she had vowed was everything to her. The true question, however, is whether pursuing the money, fame, and false dream was worth it. The Dipset dream was always going to fall apart under the weight of its own secrets, and most importantly, who is really at fault in this case, Jim, Chrissy, Camron, Harlem itself, because in a society where loyalty is worth losing everything. Tell me in the comments if you believe Camron was a hero for exposing the truth, or if he was just a snake playing a larger game. I'm reading. After all the scandals, do you think Jim Jones deserves a second chance? Should Chrissy be held accountable if the accusations are true? Loyalty is bought, love is weaponized, and secrets are currency. The business is going to be rocked even more by even more bizarre new disclosures, betrayals, and collapses, so don't hold back if you thought this was messy. If you haven't already, click like and subscribe, and turn on your alerts to make sure you never miss the real stories they'd prefer you not to hear, because we spill in addition to drink and keep the entire pot locked.